If you want to make a realistic stone wall like this out of XPS foam, I'll show you how in this video. Start by drawing in your stones with a sharp pencil. I like to start on the side and draw a pattern of alternating wider and narrower stones, which simulates how real stone blocks are stacked on the corner of a building. Then, I sketch in a row of larger blocks along the bottom to be the foundation stones. Then I just pencil in the remaining area with stones in various shapes and sizes. Don't draw the stones too small, because later on we're going to carve out the lines with a soldering pen. This pattern of stonework is called rubble, as opposed to an ashlar pattern. With a rubble pattern, the stones are irregular shaped and placed randomly. The ashlar style looks more formal and features straighter stones arranged in straight lines. It's a matter of taste, but I like the look of the rubble style. It was just the look I wanted for the nativity scene I made in the style of a rustic Italian farmhouse. Here's how it looks with all the stones penciled in. Now it's time to carve out the lines with a soldering pen. Soldering pens are not expensive and they plug into any regular outlet. You'll want to do this outside because the melting foam gives off noxious fumes and you don't want to breathe it in or have it in your house. Before you start on your actual project, practice first on a piece of extra foam to get the hang of it. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with it because you'll melt away too much foam and carve out lines that are too deep and too wide. Just use a light touch. You don't want to ruin your panel with overly wide spaces between the stones. The next step is texturing. Take a crumpled up ball of tin foil and just press it down all over the stone so the smooth surface becomes textured. Here's how it's looking so far, outside in the daylight. You'll notice there's a lot of sharp little corners and hard edges. We're going to fine-tune those in the next couple of steps. I like to take a screwdriver and deepen any of the soldering cuts that might be too shallow. Next, you'll want to use something like this metal chopstick to go around and smooth off the hard edges of the stones. Beveling the stones like this gives them a more natural look. You can also use your thumb to push in a few random stones, which helps to make the wall surface less uniformly flat. Now we can start the painting process. What I do first is paint in all the lines with this buff-colored acrylic paint, which resembles the color of mortar. You can mix some white Mod Podge glue into the paint if you like, that supposedly acts like a sealant. On my first project, I followed the advice I saw on another video, where they said to start by painting the whole panel black. Honestly, I didn't like the way it looked, and I had to spend a lot of time painting in the lines with this buff color instead. Maybe it's a matter of taste, and maybe black would work well for a dark castle or Dungeons and Dragons kind of building, but I prefer this buff mortar color for the lines instead of black. After all the mortar lines are painted in, you can start painting the actual stones. I use these acrylic craft paints in a variety of earth tones: brown, beige, tan, khaki, gray. Just go around and randomly paint each stone so you have a good blend of colors. By the way, these cat food tins make perfect disposable containers for paint. We'll fast forward through this part. Here's how it looks so far, but don't go away because we're not nearly done yet. At this stage, the painted stones look dull and flat. So in the next step, after the paint has dried, we're going to paint each stone with a blend of multiple colors so they look more realistic. After everything has dried thoroughly, we're ready for the last step, highlighting the stones with white using what's called a dry brush technique. Make sure your brush is perfectly dry. This step requires a very light touch. What you do is you dip your brush into some white paint, and then you basically brush most of the paint off onto some newspaper. Then you very lightly brush over the surface of the stones to give them a very light speckling of white for a highlight effect. Be careful, it's easy to overdo it. Here's what the final product looks like. I've included a couple of pictures of my nativity scene so you can see what an actual building looks like using these techniques. If you're interested in how I made my nativity scene, I have a video about that if you're interested. I'll link to it in the end screen. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please consider giving it a like. Anyway, thanks for watching and good luck with your own projects.